you save money when you're paying for your basic needs and everyday expenses? Well, here to talk with me about this is Massey DeSantis from Desmo Wealth Advisors. Massey, welcome back.
Hi, Bob. Nice to be here.
Yeah, nice to have you. You've written an article about this very topic for Retirement Daily. We're eager to have you walk us through what you wrote.
Yes, thank you, Bob. Basically, the idea was now we're at the beginning of the year. We're getting into tax season. People are still kind of working on their New Year's resolution, and so I thought it would be a timely, time to really write about how do you save more, how do you solve that problem, and so we got a few suggestions. I call them tips and tricks, and I'm happy to walk over them. The first one is really know why your savings or you need to save, and that's really important. Last month, if you remember, we talked about goal setting. So I urge my readers to go back and really go through that process. And if you set meaningful goals, then you know what you're saving for, and that's the first step really into motivating you to save more. So motivation is key. So start there. What are some of the meaningful goals you want to save towards? And then like we said last time, prioritize those goals. And the next step is once you got these goals and prioritize them, then you need to find a number. What does that mean? Like, for example, one of the things obviously most people save towards is retirement. And so I say, well, for most people, you need to think about 10 to 20% is where you're going to end up. Take your income, 10% to start with, and then later in your career, you want to up it. And by the time you get closer, to 45, 50, you may want to get closer to 20 rather than 10. So start at 10. So take your income times 10%, divide by 12. That's your monthly that you should save towards retirement. Then you may have other goals. Let's say you want to send your kids to college and you need $100,000 in 5 years. Well, you look at how much you've saved so far. Let's say you got 50 and then you got 50,000 left. Divide that by the 5 years. It's $10,000 a year, around 850 a month. So that's how much you probably need to save for that. So what I say is, don't get discouraged, but do make these calculations. Think about what are some of the reasonable numbers. And then once you've got your prioritization, you may want to kind of tweak what you can do every month. So I think that's the first step, is really to know how much you save. And then if you can, automate. Most investment accounts now allow you to automate your savings. So just set it up that way. You just take it out of your checking account every month or twice a month, depending on how frequently you get paid, and just go save. Obviously, the 401k, if you have a 401k, that makes it easy to save towards retirement. That's taken out of your paycheck directly. But other savings goals the same. You can automate that. So if you don't see it coming in your checking account, it's a great thing, because it helps you against what we call in financial planning lifestyle creep. And it's the fact that the more your checking account, the more you make, and the more you tend to spend, because you see there and you have a lot of distractions, a lot of temptations every day. So if your checking account is growing, you may be tempted to spend more. So just pay yourself first, I say, devote it towards your goals, and that will help you. So those are some of the things to get started. But then a big question is, what if I can't do that? What if I can't save enough for all these goals? And what do you do? Well, now we got it through this first step, which is at least what you should be doing, right? So one of the things you can do is try to reprioritize some of the goals. Typically you also have some flexibility about some of the goals. Maybe you want to buy a vacation home, but if it doesn't happen in the next 5 years, maybe in 7 is fine too. So to kind of try to help you with some of that flexibility that you may have. If you cannot save that 10% minimum that I say about retirement, well, save what you can, right? Let's figure out where you can be. Maybe you'll save 5%, and then you work towards getting to that 10%. So that's the key part. I call it save more tomorrow. It's actually some academics, as you probably know, have written about it, and using your behavioral biases to help you save more. So that you may get a raise, or you may get a spring bonus. Commit today to saving at least a good portion of that towards your goals. And so if you make that commitment early on, it's going to be easier to then do it once you get that raise or that bonus or then windfall that you may get. Like for example, you may get a refund on your taxes this year. So those are the things you do And then there's a couple other things that I suggest doing, and it's a little bit different. One is, take a cleanse, like people do a juice cleanse when they do a diet. There is such a thing, reboot your spending. So there is a blog that I like. It's called Mike and Molly it's called This Evergreen Home. It's a web page, and I put a link to it. And they tell you how to do this cleanse for, not spending for a month. And so I said, well, try it. And my wife and I tried it after the holidays because we felt we had spent too much of the holidays. So let's take 30 days without spending. And it's not easy, but you can do it. And that gives you, number one, at the end of the month, you'll have more time that you'll see it because you're spending less, and you just find other things to do that don't cost money.
Right.
And you're going to have more money at the end of the month. More importantly, you're going to have a different set of expectations about what's essential. So that's going to help you, really then reboot and, then look back at your goals and how much you should be saving. And maybe that will help you go forward. And the other thing that's related to it is once you've done the cleanse, track your spending. There's a couple of different ways to do it. One is, take a notepad and write down every day when you make an expense, write down what you spend on and the amount. Nothing too formal. It's just more to create that awareness of where your money is going. Or use an app. I like Unit the Budget. So if you Google Unit the Budget, or you go to unitthebudget.com, it's a great app for tracking your spending. And as you do it, then you also learn about how to do a budget, proper budgeting. So that's the next step. But you don't really have to create a budget to create some of these benefits that come with tracking your spending. So those are my suggestions, really. I think, it may sound like all work and no play, but I think, if you start, that's what's important, to start with your goals. Know why you're saving. That gives you the motivation. It's really about changing your mindset. What we want is we want to have a game plan to reach those goals. And that's what we're doing. It's, we're not playing, but we have a game plan.
So I love these tips and tricks, Massi.
Yeah.
One question, we're recording this interview on the very same day that it was announced that the inflation rate is now at 7.5%, a 40-year high.
Yeah.
Obviously, inflation is eating into everyday expenses and basic needs and putting pressure on someone's ability to save. Any thoughts, recommendations?
Yeah, I mean, this, to be honest, it's not totally unexpected. I mean, I was expecting, and maybe we can expect that for the next few months as well, a little bit higher readings on the inflation. And that's one of the reasons that motivated me to, to think about these things. And I think the best you can do, if inflation is temporary, then, going through these steps and trying to save more, definitely is going to be the number one thing that you can do to help you go through a period like this. And then, we'll see where inflation is going forward. So obviously, a lot of these things don't change because of inflation. So I think, have a game plan and just go through it, be a little bit more careful with your spending. And hopefully, most people think it's going to be transitory because we have a strong Federal Reserve Bank that will pay more attention to price stability going forward. So, hopefully by the summer, we should be already towards the end of the year. We should be in a better place.
Well, Massi, I want to thank you as always for sharing your knowledge and wisdom with our readers and viewers. It's greatly appreciated.
Thank you. My pleasure.